Now we are pleased to begin our first session of the paper presentations. The session will be chaired by Manish Mohan Baral, Professor, and Professor Utsav Kumar Singh. So our first paper presenter is Ms. Neha Tripathi and Dr. Kaushal Bhatt from GTU School of Management Studies. The mode of the presentation is online. So I request our IT team to kindly connect.
Neha ma'am, could you please unmute? Hello ma'am, welcome to CIMP.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes ma'am, you're audible.
Ma'am, I have shared my PPT. Can you please share on the screen?
Screen में नहीं आया. Ma'am, please allow screen sharing.
Should I share?
Yes, yes.
Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
All right. So, good afternoon, everyone present here. Myself, Neha Tripathi, and today I am going to present a study on the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwal Yojana and its impact on the rural women of Kutch, Gujarat, a pilot study under the guidance of the Kaushal Bhatt sir, and I am from the Gujarat Technological University School of Management Study. So throughout the presentation or my research, I'll cover overview of my industry, conceptual framework, review of literature, research methodology, data analysis, summary, and the references. So as Pradhan Mantri Ujjwal Yojana LPG comes under the petroleum industry, so that's why the industry is the petroleum, and the market size in 2024 is $6,585.4 billion, and it is expected that in 2030 it was $8,568.72 billion, and this industry contributes 8% to our country GDP. So the next is the conceptual framework, where SDG 1 is deal with the no poverty. Under this Pradhan Mantri Ujjwal Yojana, I have taken this scheme to study. So in no poverty, the main focus is on the no poverty covers the multidimensional approach, inclusive growth, empowerment and participation, and targeted intervention. Multidimensional approach, why? Because in today's time not only focuses on the poverty, but it also focuses on the education, health, sanitation. That's why it is considered to be the multi-dimension approach. Inclusive growth, so now the no poverty SDG target is to include all the sector like tribal communities who are not taken into the consideration. So inclusive growth means to take the growth of the those society who are not taken into the consideration. Empowerment and participation. So this SDG encourage to empower the untapped areas of society who are not active participated in the social responsibility. Next is the targeted intervention. So government try to build the infrastructures, try to intervene, try to give the new schemes to promote this SDGs. Now under the no poverty SDG, I have taken for this study is Pradhan Mantri Ujjwal Yojana, which is introduced in 2016, and it is started by the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. It was first launched in Balia, Uttar Pradesh. So, Pradhan Mantri Ujjwal Yojana, the main objective or the dimension of this scheme is the women empowerment and providing subsidized LPG gas connections. So, by through this scheme, the government try to empower the women of the rural areas who are using the traditional method of cooking, as it is to transfer to the modern method by using the LPG gas, because in traditional method it will be the hazardous for the woman to use. Next is the subsidized LPG connection. So the government try to give the subsidies for the to the woman who can build the LPG connection to their home, so that it will be the helpful for the woman health. So now the next is the timeline of the scheme. The first when it was introduced, it is targeted 8 crore LPG connections, and it achieved in September 2019. While in when moved to the Ujjwala 2.0, additional 1.6 crore connections were targeted, and it is also achieved by the December 2022. And now additional 75 lakh connections was approved, so the total 10.3 crores are achieved. Next, some are the literature review which I have taken throughout my study. So the first one is the scheme and the shift to cleaner household energy use. Evidence from the tribal community of the Eastern India in 2022, and these are the author of the Rajesh Kali, Shushuka Managi. These are the author who have given this literature review. In this literature review studies that it was the evidence that while using the LPG gas, the tribal communities or the women of the rural areas life was changed after the using the subsidized LPG gas. Next is the Ujjwala Yojana, ensuring the well-being of a human, disclassifying its theory and practice. It was published in 2022, and what was written by the Vani Dhaka, Radhika Narula, and these are the author who have written this literature review. So in this, they have this study or this literature review focuses on the well-being of the women who are using the traditional method of cooking food. So throughout this study, its main investigator focuses to improve the life of the rural women, though who are using the traditional method of cooking. Next is the empowering the rural India women by clean fuel incentives on impact assessment of Pradhan Mantri Ujjwal Yojana. It is a recent literature review which was published in 2024, and these are the author Hemlata Gaikwad, Suruchi Pandey, Krishnaji Patil. So in this literature review, the author has studies that providing the clean fuel. Clean fuel is nothing but providing the subsidized LPG to those women who are using the traditional method, as it is the hazardous for the health of the rural woman to use the as they are using the kerosene, cow dung to cook food. So by this literature review, the author wants to study to empower the life of the rural woman of Kutch. Next one is the women empowerment and environment protection through this yojana. It is also a recent literature review. It is published in 2024, and he is the author. So in this, the author has investigated and talk about that to empower the woman as well as to eradicate the pollution. As in traditional method we are using, there will be a lot of pollution. So by using the subsidized LPG gas, there will be eradication of the pollution, and also there will be the woman empowerment after using the significant life of the women's are changed. And the last one is Ujjwal Yojana's role in transforming the life of the scheduled caste women in Gujarat 2024, and she is the author. So in this, the author have studied, talk about that overall well-being of the woman whose life is transforming from traditional
Excuse me,
method
ma'am.
to the.
Please be real quick as we are running out of time.
Okay, sure. So my research methodology, where I have statement of problem, is to focuses on the empowering rural women. My objective is to know the accessibility of LPG, impact on health, and the economic empowerment of the rural women of Kutch. So my sample and the population size, the population is the rural women of Kutch and the sample size is 307. So I have collected this data through the primary as well as secondary data, and the collection instrument is the questionnaire. My study of the literature review from 2017 to 2024. These are the independent and the dependent variables. Tools and techniques of the analysis that I have used is the graphical analysis, and there are some limitations of this study as I have studied only the rural women of Kutch of Gujarat. So the analysis part where I have tried to meet my objective of accessibility. So the first graph is showing that almost 83.1 women of the rural Kutch have the accessibility of the LPG connection, and they are also getting their subsidy directly into their bank account, which is 64.5%. So with the help of this analysis, I can achieve my first objective, that is accessibility of the LPG connection. Next one is the question is this shows that improvement in their health. So 61.9% women have this significantly improvement in their health, and they are also find it safe and convenient to use. So with the help of this, I have achieved the objective, that is the health improvement of the rural women of Kutch of Gujarat. Next, 92.5% and the 36.8% people have the accessibility of this LPG gas, and they get the subsidy to their account directly. So with the help of this, their economic empowerment are also there. Those women who are not able to take the LPG connection, so the government provides subsidies, which shows that there will be the economic improvement of the women of the rural areas of Kutch. This is nothing. So the previously the women of the Kutch are using kerosene, wood, cow dung, coal, which is not good for their health. So after transforming from this traditional to modern method, there will be a large or significant improvement on their health. Overall impact, so the score is from 1 to 5, where yes, after using the LPG connections,
Ma'am, please be quick.
Sure, there will be an improvement on their health. So the last but not, I would like to conclude that Pradhan Mantri Ujjwal Yojana has significantly enhanced the quality and the economic welfare of the rural women of Kutch in Gujarat. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this wonderful presentation. So now floor is open for the questions.
Sure.
So I have two quick questions, ma'am, if anybody is not asking any question. How this scheme is empowering women? And in your survey also, you showed that around 60 or 70% people are saying that to some extent it is helping. And you also map the change in the health level. So कितने समय बाद कितने सिलेंडर यूज करने के बाद हेल्थ में चेंज आ रहा है? Because connection is free, refilling is not free.
Yes, sir.
So without
yes, sir.
improvement in the economic things, how can you assume that this scheme is empowering women, or in what sense it's empowering women?
It's important to women because in traditionally, if the women are using the traditional method, where they are using the cow dung or kerosene for the cooking, but which is directly hazardous for their health. So after the study, I have found that the use of this
मैम मैं बस ये पूछ रहा हूँ आपसे
Yes.
कि empower कैसे कर रहा है? Empowerment का एक डेफिनेशन होता है मैम, तो empower कैसे कर रहा है? आप बता रहे ठीक है कि धुएं से वो आजाद हो जा रही हैं, तो क्या ये empowerment है?
No, no, not in that sense that
In
they
which
are
sense, ma'am?
getting azad. Uh, being by using this connection, they are also getting the subsidy from the government to so they can
But after
take
this
the
subsidy, they have to invest something for buying a new or refilling a new cylinder. उनके
yes.
इनकम में भी कोई इंक्रीज हुआ है? मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ कि क्योंकि
Uh,
लकड़ी से यूज़ करना या फॉसिल फ्यूल्स यूज़ करना उनके लिए बहुत इकोनॉमिकल था, पर आप कह रहे हैं
yes,
कि रिफिलिंग सिलेंडर जब हो रहा है तो उसमें पैसा लगता है, चलिए फुल नहीं लगता है, सब्सिडाइज रेट पे लगता है,
yes,
बट वो एक्स्ट्रा पैसा जा रहा है, उस
yes,
फैमिली का एक्स्ट्रा इनकम जा रहा है उसमें.
yes, sir. But
And as
the
per the
government
multiple
will
survey
provide
indicators
the
of the government of
subsidized.
India, only
Uh,
30% or 35% people are using this Ujjwala Yojana or refilling the cylinder.
Yes, but initially government has when the government started this scheme, initially it was free of cost.
First cylinder is free of
So
cost.
initially it was free of cost. Now there will be little charges for this.
और तब
So
से अब तक क्या कोई चेंज आ गया
when it
इकोनॉमिक
was
कंडीशन में?
जी sir,
तब से और अब तक क्या इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन में कोई चेंज आया है?
um, I'll search about it. Actually
thank you, ma'am.
आया तो है. Okay sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I would now like to invite Mr. Atul Ghorpade sir, research scholar in economics, Department of Humanities and Social Science, Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, through an online mode.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, sir, you are audible.
Just a minute. Are the slides visible for all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So how much time do I have?
Sir, you have an approximately of 10 minutes for a discussion and 5 minutes of Q&A session.
Okay, thank you. So I'll be really quick and I'll start my presentation. So the title of my paper is Impact of India's Mandatory CSR Regulation, Enforcement Dynamics and Role of Legal Risk. So this is joint work under the supervision of my PhD guide, Dr. Sabuj Kumar Mandal. So this is the outline for my presentation. I'll start quick with a background and followed by what is a CSR law India, literature review, data methodology, results and discussion, and with summarizing what the findings is. So starting with the background, after the global financial crisis of 2007-8, there is a global pressure to move towards sustainable practices across the world. So apart from that, India start outside comparison with all these countries because India has mandated CSR spending, not just the just disclosure what you do. So this raises a question: how do companies behave when sustainability or the corporate social responsibility is mandated? Does the enforcement design matters when the this regulation is passed, and how does governance mechanism is adopted across the firms? So let's begin with CSR in India. I will not go to the history and evolution of CSR due to the time constraint, but I'll come to what is a CSR Act tells, what is a CSR Act in India. So the section 135 of the Companies Act 2013 tells that any company following satisfying any one of these criteria, that is a minimum net worth of 500 crores or more, turnover of 1000 crores or more, or net profit of 5 crores or more, has to spend minimum 2% of their net profit of last 3 years on CSR activities prescribed in Schedule 7 of the Companies Act. But this act is not a static, it has evolved over the time. So there is a three major changes happened over the time. So the first regime, I will classify them in a three regime. The first regime is from 2014 to 80, where the mandate was given, and it has a provision that you disclose what you spend and what you do under the CSR. But the nature of this compliance was comply or explain. That company can explain and why they have not did or complied with the act. They can explained in the annual reports. So then in 2019, the amendment comes. It introduced the monetary penalties along with the imprisonment clause for officers and company top management, which is responsible for not fulfillment of this provision of CSR. Then in 2021, the reform again, the imprisonment provision has removed, but the monetary policy has remained. So it has created two enforcement shocks, one in 2019 and 2021. So this will we see the implication of this regimes or enforcement shock in upcoming section. So coming to the literature review, there are two major studies, one by the JNU professor Bansal and another is by IBS professor Rajgopal and Tantri 2023. The both study comes to the conclusion that the mandate has crowded out the voluntary nature of CSR and it has crowded out CSR. But to check what has actually happened to the CSR spending or the volume of CSR spending, we took a study and to understand what could have been the impact of this regulation, we relied on some theoretical discussion, which is well known in finance, economics, and corporate governance literature. So the first theory is a stakeholder versus shareholder perspective, which is if you know the shareholder views of a Friedman, which argues that the only responsibility of firm is the generation of the profit and all other social activities done by a company, it is it is a waste of corporate scarce resources of deviating from investment which has a net present value of a positive. Whereas the Freeman's stakeholder approach says that this CSR is actually helping companies to create a long-term value through the taking account of the stakeholders and their relationship. It creates a moral capital of moral value and which act as an insurance or a premium of insurance in the time of uncertainty or a crisis. So these both theory predicts that companies will adhere to the minimum what is required by the act, and whereas stakeholder theory suggests that companies will spend more on CSR. But these companies dynamics is not just involved by the stakeholders and shareholders perspectives. There are internal dynamics which are required. So thus we comes to the agency theory, where the opportunistic wave and altruistic views argue that. So the opportunistic views argue that, okay, manager will use this CSR for their personal benefit to gain some political influence, to create their own brand in a market, or for a more political or social benefits for themselves own. Whereas an altruistic view argues that CSR is driven more by the altruistic values of a manager, and it can create a more social good or social.
Sir, I request you to be real quick, sir.
Yeah, I'll be coming within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Please don't interrupt me while I finish.
Sure.
Yeah. So coming to the strategic CSR, whereas a Porter and Porter hypothesis argue that this company is not just only taking CSR as a complying or the tick box approach, they are integrating these strategies into their decision making, and they are using CSR as a strategic tool. So, but apart from these three theories, Baker's model comes in hand when it comes as a compliance requirement, because Baker's theory is mostly based on the cost and benefit values of complying a particular regulation or a policy. If the probability of caught and probability of getting the fine is higher, then companies will be more likely to comply. So based on this, we come to the hypothesis that mandatory CSR regulation can increase CSR spending after their regulation. Second hypothesis is mandatory CSR regulation can decrease CSR spending after 2024. It may sound very obvious to someone that, oh, there is a mandate and it can obviously will increase the CSR spending, but it is not, because we have already seen in theories. But to understand an analogy, I'll give you a example. Let's suppose that there is a blood donation and organized by a company or a let's say NGO, and they find out 50 people have turned out. Now next time they organize a blood camp and they say, okay, we'll give some monetary benefit or some biscuits or some goodies those who turned up. But next time when they took the blood donation camp, less than 50 people has shown up, because people is the innate tendency. When you have giving willingly, there is things you do more, but when somebody enforce, you try to reduce your willingness to do that. Coming to the second hypothesis, that stringent enforcement leads to the higher compliance. To test this hypothesis, we collect data from the PROES database for the period 2009 to 2023. It's a panel of 1,23,245 firms, classifying the pre-mandate period from 2010 to 2014 and post-mandate period from 2015 to 2022. These are the variables I will not discuss because of time constraints. This is the descriptive stat. Before going to the econometric analysis, some trends we see in a descriptive stats that throughout the period, CSR spending has gone up rapidly after 2014's amendment. But we also see is that this unspent amount of CSR has gone up until the 2019, and it has started reducing post 2019, which is after the first amendment of imprisonment and monetary penalties. To see the heterogeneity of this compliance, we classified companies in three categories, which that is companies spending less than, companies spending equal, and companies spend more than what is mandated. We can see that companies spending less than has started reducing after the amendments in the Act after 2019 and 2021. Whereas there are also companies which are taking only CSR as a tick box approach. You can see in the second graph, there are companies spending equal to what is mandated is growing up. There is also a set of companies which are spending more than what is required. So what our theories has predicted, there are obviously three kinds of nature seen in companies' behavior. So then we come to the mean difference. We see what is the mandated amount for the companies in that particular year and what is the actual amount spent by the companies in that year. When we took the t-test analysis, it's very visible. Companies are spending what is less than what is mandated prior to 2019, and after the this 2019 and 2021 amendments, the difference has gone down, or there's no significant difference between what is mandated and what is actual to be spent. To come to the baseline model, we check what is a mandate impact on CSR spending by using two-way fixed effect model, where our dependent variable is the CSR spending in absolute amount and log of CSR spending. The post is a dummy variable which takes value 1 for the year 2015 and 2023. That is a post regulation period, and we control for a firm and year fixed effect. The result shows that CSR mandate has increased the CSR spending significantly after the mandate.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Please conclude.
Okay, that's very quick. It's been 10 minutes. I need bit time, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure. You can take 2 minutes.
Yeah. So the baseline model shows that, okay, there is a gain in a CSR spending, but what happens, because CSR rule has defined a set of criteria. Those companies who fill the criteria comes as a treatment group. Those who are not satisfy the criteria comes as a control group. And what we check by using DID framework, that what happens to the companies who are mandated post the regulation. By using DID framework, we classified our treatment variable, a dummy variable that takes value 1 for the firms is affected by the Companies Act and mandated to spend, and 0 otherwise. Post is a dummy variable that takes value 1 if the firm is 2025 and 2013 and 0 otherwise. The interaction terms capture the causal effect of mandatory CSR regulation. Identification strategy, because of time constraint I will not discuss. Then we come to the results, which also shows that compared to the control groups, mandated or the treatment groups spend significantly higher. If you convert in the percentage form, more than 300% of increase has been seen in the treatment group. So the robustness check, because of time constraint, I will quickly run over, but it satisfied a multiple robustness check of a parallel trend, then group specific linear time trends. Then we come to enforcement analysis, where we check what happens to the CSR spending for the first regime in first amendment in 2019 and after the second amendment 2022. So the result shows that the spending has gone up significantly after the 2019 and 2020 particularly, and particularly for the treated group. So the mechanism analysis we have undertaken, where we use legal fees as a proxy for a legal risk, because we assume that most of the compliance comes from the legal compliance than just benevolent nature of corporations, and the results confirm our mechanism analysis. We have undertook a multiple heterogeneity analysis based on companies, industry type, manufacturing versus service, their environmental sensitivity or environmental sensitive or not, their voluntary nature, they belongs to business groups or standalone firms. The results showed across all these heterogeneity class the same. To conclude, the mandatory CSR regulation has significantly increased the corporate social spending in India, particularly after the mandate. Enforcement mechanism has critically shaped the compliance, and firms with a greater legal exposure responds more strongly to the mandate, confirming deterrence mechanism. You can reach out to me for much and further details. Because of time constraint, we could not continue much more discussion here. Thank you for your patience, and I'm look forward for your comments and feedback. Thank you. It was really quick. I was expecting to have a more time to go through much detail in my study, but
thank you very much, sir, for your insightful contribution. May I now request our next participant, Ms. Subha Daud from Mewar Institute, from Mewar University. The mode is online mode. Ma'am, kindly unmute.
Thank you. My topic is social emotional learning as a foundation of academic achievement in senior secondary school of India. I would like to go through the background of my paper. India is a diverse country, and the education industry is a widespread here. Students in education system are the important pole of the learning triangle, where it is India or other countries abroad. The journey from learning to academic achievement in a student depends on the relationships of a teacher and student. If a student is comfortable learning with a teacher, he or she would not feel threatened to ask questions and have better understanding and would achieve academically better. In this article, we will be reviewing how social emotional learning helps senior secondary school students in their good academic achievement. The time has changed a lot, from harsh parenting to gentle parenting, and not only in abroad but India. If a student is not emotionally in a good state, his academic performance will be affected. In the adolescence age, it is going through a lot student is going through a lot of ups and downs in his life, and good counseling by a teacher can only help a student to have a balanced emotion and to manage the pressure of his delicate age and stay focused on his goals. It is considered to be a prime time in a student's life where his academic achievement in his studies will be deciding his futures. His status in society's standard of living leads him to a journey of aspiration and adjustment. India, in comparison to abroad, is still working on it, and as there are many superstitions and paranoids as a barrier. As we go through, I'd like to introduce social emotional learning. As stated by the UNICEF, the process of acquiring the values, attitudes, knowledge, and skills needed to understand and manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feels and show empathy for others, establish and maintain supportive relationship, and make responsible decisions. During the era of COVID-19, uh, people had started using digital equipments more, and learning in the learn education sector, technology was used widely to teach and to enlighten minds. After that, a new education policy was being worked out by in 2020, which stated which aimed at having a holistic development, characters and values, focus on well-being, curriculum integration and teachers training widely, peer support and national initiatives also. To understand social emotional learning and foundations and relevations, we would like to state defining social emotional learning and key competence. Five core competence are self-awareness, self-maintenance, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision makings. These competence empower students to recognize and regulate emotions, empathies, communicate effectively, and make constructive choices. SEL in global and Indian educational thoughts. SEL enjoys robust global validation. Research shows that effective SEL programs yield approximately an 11 percentile gain in academic performance across diverse contexts. In India, scholars have explored SEL integration through both Western frameworks and indigenous emotional educational philosophies, such as those aligned emotional learning with local values. Necessity in Indian secondary education. The Indian education systems having tilted towards rote learning and exam-centric pedagogy has stunned students' rational and emotional skills. Even in elite private schools, studies like studies like CASA show that students with stronger SEL skill perform around 60% better academically, underscoring the direct nexus between emotional competence and scholastic outcomes. Policy landscape, NEP 2020 and national framework. NEP 2020, a holistic vision. NEP 2020 heralds a shift from exam-heavy education towards a multidisciplinary, holistic learning, emphasizing well-being, mental health, and flexibility While the policy articulates the importance of mental and emotional health, its implementation in terms of SEL, specific curricula, and teacher trainings, curriculum frameworks, na- National Curriculum Framework 2005 promotes moving away from rote learning to joyful, value centered education, including empathy, democratic values, peace, and life skills across subjects, echoing SEL principles more than 2 decades ago. State level pilot initiative. Happiness curriculum implemented in government schools from nursery to grade 8 since 2018. This program emphasizes mindfulness, social emotional awareness, critical thinking, and storytelling. Evaluations cite improvements in student teacher relationship, attention, and classroom participation. CBSE Council Hub and Spoke Model. As per the Times of India news, the board has introduced counseling hub and spoke model in all his affiliated schools. This model is for the session 2025-26. This model supports the student's psycho-social well-being of a student and also gives career counseling to the students for a better and balanced future. To bring it to a success, it involves all the time facilitators and
Ma'am,
parents.
sorry to interrupt. You need to conclude within 1 minute.
I will go directly to the conclusion. As we see that we can see a better academic achievement in students of adolescence age in senior secondary schools if social emotional learning is being included, and the NEP and social emotional learning are working parallel national curriculum framework to build a curriculum where students can gain the confidence and have a clear head towards their goals and could perform clearly without any stress and anxiety at the senior secondary school level where their performance is quite important. For that they uh, social emotional learning is the missing foundation, empowering students to build resilience, emotional intelligence, and meaningful engagement with the learning. There are various challenges which we are facing, but over the time, the challenges will be overcome. The challenges are the The challenges are exam-centric curriculum and root culture, teacher preparedness and resource limitations, digital delivery gaps, one-size-fits-all risk, and SEL skill deficit and parental gaps. The teachers training to handle students at an SEL level is very important, and uh, it is being recommended that teachers should be trained at all levels of education to handle the students so that there's a better performance at all levels, academic performance at all levels. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you to all the presenters and the session chairs for that enriching session. May I now request Professor Manish Mohan sir to present a memento to our guest, Mr. Utsav Kumar Singh, as a token of a symbol of inspiring presence and dedication. Thank you, sir. With this, we start with the last academic session of the day, which is paper presentation 3. The session will be chaired by Professor Vinay Kumar Jha and Professor Nitin Nigam, sir. Please welcome Professor Vinay Kumar Jha and Professor Nitin Nigam, sir. The session will heavily focus on crucial areas like ESG frameworks, climate action, vulnerability and adaptation to climate change, and integration of strategies, CSR and circular economy practices. The presenter is Gautam Kumar Mishra, Nalanda University, and the topic is CSR and climate action, a strategic move to counter global threat. Presenters, 10 minutes will be given for the presentation, followed by 2 to 3 minutes of the question and answer round. Please confine to the time limit.
So, good evening all of you, good evening the honorable dignitaries and dear all participants and students. I would like to thank Chandragupt Institute of Management Patna for providing me the opportunity to present my research and add a little contribution to the academia. Myself, Gautam Kumar Mishra from Nalanda University, an MBA in Sustainable Development student, and my topic to you is CSR and climate action, a strategic move to counter global threat. So here is the So here are my table of contents, the agenda for today's presentation. Background, CSR and relevance, the problem statement and research objectives, the methodology, literature review, key findings, and some recommendations. So what is the background? First of all, as per the World Economic... background. As per the World Economic Forum report 2024, the Indian GDP, which is heavily reliant on nature, as per the report, 1/3 of the GDP is nature dependent. And climate crisis, as predicted in the report, could cost around 6.4% to 10.4% of the loss of national income by 2100 and can also push 50 million people back into the poverty. Also, India is known for its agriculture. Agriculture is still a source of livelihood for many of the people. So, due to climate change, 46.1% of the people will be affected due to climate change, and 16% drop in agriculture output is predicted. Many of the polluting industries, emitting industries like mining, cement, chemical, oil and gas are doing much emissions but spending less on the climate change. And as per Yale program on climate change and communications, majority of Indians are facing extreme heat waves, water pollution and droughts. So these are the effects that climate change is doing to the country, and it needs serious actions to treat this global threat. So what is CSR and its relevance in today's society? CSR has become mandatory in India through the Companies Act 2013 under the section 135. So India has a tradition of Daan, and CSR also has connections with it. It has evolved with the practice of Daan, which is embedded in the traditions. Now, as per the total budget of CSR has crossed 34,000 crore with 14 development sectors, including healthcare, education, and sanitation. So CSR is mostly, till now, it's a business strategy to strengthen the brand reputation. CSR also fits into some of the commitments under Paris Agreement to how to achieve it. Climate-focused CSR, it's slowly gaining its ground as in comparison to social welfare and sustainability. There are some big Indian brands like Tata, Reliance, Mahindra, slowly shifting or also including climate change and their actions in the CSR fund spending. Can you move this slide, please? So in this slide, I have shown that you can see in the table that from financial year 2019-20 to financial year 2023-24, the increase in budget of CSR spending. And also, there on the top, you can see the 14 development sectors that include education, health and sanitation, and clean Ganga fund. So all our 14 development sectors are included in the CSR fund. Can you move it? So This is our problem statement and research objective. As you can see here, I have tried to show from this graph that the social sector investment the CSR is getting and the climate change, which is need of our to spend more on climate change, it is getting. So despite climate change, the threat is increasing. Still, most of the CSR funding is going to social sectors. Climate change and action still getting very less. So the main research objective of this study is to analyze CSR alignment with climate action and to assess the trend, gaps, and opportunities. So this is the methodology that I have followed. This research is completely based on the secondary data analysis, means the government report, the CSR reports, and the research papers. No primary data was collected to do this research, and it is limited to the Indian companies under the section 135 and related to CSR, climate-related CSR projects. Can you move ahead? Yes. So this is the literature review that we have. Some of the papers I have gone through for this study. First paper shows that how the CSR is evolved in India. Second is about literature it shows about the climate risk in India, how it due to climate change, the groundwater level is affecting. And third is that why still the CSR spending on environment and climate projects remains low. So, and the fourth and fifth paper that I have selected, that's why to include CSR in the climate change, why to include CSR in the climate change and sustainability. And the fifth is that it talks about the triple bottom line stakeholder, that CSR must integrate environmental responsibility and climate action project as stakeholders and support long-term business and sustainability. So these are some key findings. CSR in India is largely and mostly now dominated by the social sectors. Social sector spending is more in comparison to climate action. The climate change risk in India is increasing day by day. Drought, extreme heat are very prone to Indians, and it's also caused to decrease in the national income. There are some initiatives like Haryali project by Mahindra, which is planting trees on a large scale. Shodhan, which is to cut off the crop burning offset emissions. But the CSR funding is still very low for climate change. CSR policy has gaps. In the Schedule 7, you have that environmental sustainability is there, but there is no specific mention why to promote the CSR fund for the climate action. Because for the climate action, you need climate finance, and climate finance funding is still very low. And the fifth is most of the CSR fund, as we have listened to our honorable dignitaries in the morning, is still very unevenly distributed, with most of the CSR fund goes to the industrial states, and that also in most of the social sectors, like the rural livelihood, education and all, but there is no mention or no focus on the climate change. So these two recommendations that I have come up with, first of all, include climate action in the CSR law, to amend the CSR schedule and make climate action necessary for the corporates to come up with. And second is to link CSR with ESG, and the community needs, companies should integrate CSR with their ESG goals. Matthew sir was there in the morning, he says about CSR and sustainable development goals. So now it's high time the companies not only should focus on the social development, because there's no social development without treating the global threat of climate change. So these are some initiatives that I have discussed about, the Haryali and the project Shodhan, and the SDGs impacted due to the project Shodhan by Birlasoft. So this was my short presentation to you. Thank you very much for providing me the opportunities, and I am open to questions.
Thank you for the good presentation.
Thank you, sir.
I just wanted to understand, do you sort of have any idea that if kind of you are giving education related to climate change and not directly doing something on climate change, does the CSR spending included in that climate actions?
So climate change education, as I am a MBA in sustainable development student, I am also getting reading about climate change and all. But the main purpose of education in India still remains is to get a job and make a livelihood. So I don't think that only educating people at the university level or college level will do that much. We have to spend, and we have to create some practical examples. We have, like, I take example of my university, Nalanda University. It's the world's largest net zero campus.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm just asking about the research thing of that, whether it is included or not included. That's it. You have to tell yes or no.
So can you come back?
You are answering the question whether education, climate related education, that you have to do some, adapt plastic free usage and say use electricity in a kind of gentle manner, less electricity, consume less electricity. So is this kind of awareness and education are related into this climate action funds or not? Like, do you kind of include those funds into climate related sustainable CSR or not?
Yes, sir, but to some extent.
Okay, thank you.
So how you define social sector? Like you have compared between spending in social sector and climate change related activities. So how you have defined it?
So social sector or that education. Look, we have two things here. Like when I talk about the social sector, it is sustainable because sustainability has that inclusive growth. If you are doing this also, it's come under sustainability. But for climate change, we have to go, first of all, we have to realize that we have to cut the emissions. We have to cut the greenhouse gases emissions. And for that, we have to make change in practice. Like we can build a building, okay, and we can allow students, we can ask students to come up and educate there, teach it there. So, okay, but it is setting one goal that people are getting educated, but the construction, the building do, and the procedure that we are carrying out, that is causing the emissions.
Sorry to interrupt, just I am asking like how you have defined the social sector. Is there any distinction between social sector spending and climate change spending? How you have defined?
So, social sector spending, I have defined that spending on education, healthcare, and climate change I have defined in that investment in renewable energy.
Just one suggestion.
Yes, sir.
Like sir has also discussed about the spillover effect of like spending in education sector. That may also lead to some climate related initiatives or climate related advantages. So you can look into that.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
Any question from audience?
Yeah, I have one question, just a clarificatory, because he has described like a head of CSR, like there are already environmental sustainability head, then like Clean Ganga, then forestation. These are heads are there in CSR. Then like does even for going extent, companies are taking care of ESG. So on what ground we are again enforcing companies, or it is kind of coercive power of a state you are trying to put on companies?
Thank you for the question. My main point was, yes, companies have come up with the special ESG positions, special there's agriculture and biodiversity thing, but the spending that the companies should focus is still very low. Okay, still the social sectors are getting more fund in comparison to the climate change. So my main focus is CSR should not only be the business driven agenda procedure for the companies, it should also focus on the global threat that the climate change that is coming up with. We have that ESG commission, but most of the things that companies are only focusing, many companies are doing.
Then it's a choice of a companies to what prioritize, social over economic, social over environmental. So that choice should be there. Like what companies seem as a major problem to them than enforcing more environmental. As that's what I see. Like it's already there. The heads are already there. They are choosing what to spend.
Yes, I will take. To answer your question, one key I take away from the morning, that one Dr. Indranil, they were discussing about the co-production. That companies, they are working it, yes, it's their choice to spend how they want to spend. But the main thing is, if there is, like, the planet is not good, if the community is facing threats and the community is facing the problem, so it will affect the business in a longer run. So that was my point, to have climate change in focus. Not only to promote, it should not be only to drive the businesses and to be a strategic to enhance your brand reputation. If you will focus on climate change more, if you will, then it will slowly it will impact your business also. It will lead to the growth of business.
Okay, all the best for your future career.
Thank you. Growth. Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Gautam sir, for throwing a light on one of the issues that the world is grappling with, the climate change.